All right, hello and welcome. You came here today because you wanted to learn how to make your resume seductive and attractive for employers across industry. And so I want to start this video off today by starting and letting you know that most, if not all, of the information I find every day on the internet referencing resumes is complete garbage. It is absolutely insane, and it is a travesty that people get away with posting this information because it's hurting you. I see information promoted by very reputable companies and people that say you should have a one-page resume, or your resume should include graphs and visuals, or your resume should forget about the soft skills and the fluff and stick to just the hard skills and the things that you did day to day. You should eliminate all those bullet points that have numbers and data because it's making your resume too long. You shouldn't lead your resume with education. It's out of date. All of this in its own right, given in the context it's given, is misinformation. And I'll give you some information here in this short video. Before I do that, though, I do want to tell you a bit about me and why you should even listen to me. Now, I don't list below any testimonials. The reason I don't do that is I've invested a lot of money and time learning internet marketing. And one of the things I have found particularly interesting about what I've learned is that nobody believes testimonials. You go to Amazon and you just assume that the company paid to have people post positive reviews. And sometimes they have. So instead of telling you testimonials, I just speak very clearly, and I'm very honest about who I am and my background, so much so that you could call any of the places that I reference in my LinkedIn or other places to see if they back up what I claim. Now, my name is Chris Tonis. I'm the CEO of Preeminent Recruitment. You see the sign behind me, and we are a permanent placement recruiting firm as well as consultancy for companies on hiring best practices. Now, in addition to that, we recently rolled out our job search services so we can help more people on the front end, because there's a problem right now for people like yourself who are looking for a job. You get help from two types of people. Person one is a recruiter, someone like myself and my team who calls you up and asks you if you're interested in a job. Now, it seems like we have your best interests in mind, but sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're at odds with what your best interest is because we get paid by companies for fulfilling positions. And so sometimes the advice that you get from a recruiter isn't honest and transparent, and sometimes can be downright manipulative. Now, on the other end, you get help from would-be gurus, career coaches, career consultants, resume writers, and all these people who, if you take a look at their LinkedIn or their profiles or do any kind of research on them, you will find that they are no more qualified to help you than you are to help yourself. They were sales representatives in their past life, marketers, editors, writers. These aren't people qualified to help you build out a resume or build out a career plan because they haven't worked in the right space. You see, I have spoken to thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are in a job search. I have learned everything that makes people tick. What I found is that people are looking for a new job because they either were let go of their current job, they were terminated, they want more growth and development, they feel stuck where they are, they feel frustrated at management or their peers, they feel like they're not living up to their potential. Compensation, benefits, you name it. I've heard it all. And it's very important to understand this because I can understand where you're coming from. People in this space don't usually have that kind of knowledge base. What they also lack is what companies are looking for on the back end. Just like I've spoken to thousands of candidates, I've worked for hundreds of different companies across 15 different industries. I have learned what they're looking for when they're looking for someone fresh out of school. I've learned what they were looking for when they're looking for a staff personnel, when they're looking for management, executive, CEOs. I've worked on every type of job that you could imagine. And I've worked with companies as large as top 10 Fortune 500 companies. I've worked with companies as small as startups hiring their first employees. So regardless of what your goals and ambitions are, I have the resources to help you get there. And it's important to share this because you need to understand a bit about me and why you should even listen to me. Now, to get back to the resume, a lot of the information, as I said, out there is just downright nasty. It's just not accurate, and it could be very damaging to you in your career. Just recently, I had someone reach out to me and ask for my support in looking for a job confidentially. Now, my time is limited, so I can't necessarily work with people one-on-one in that capacity anymore because I'm consulting with companies and doing a lot of different things. But I was happy to help. And just like I would be happy to help you, I shared with him some of the videos you're going to see below, or the opportunity to see the videos down below. And I shared with him some information on how to functionally build a proper resume. And I gave him the tools, the sample templates to do it himself. He didn't have to pay $2,000 to get his resume done. He had to pay what would you see below. And now he knows how to do it. So in the future, he can do it himself. He doesn't need to rely on other people. You know, I think the old saying goes, you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. That's my goal for you. And so when we're talking about the resume, I really need you to block out what your preconceived notions are. If you have opinions about how the resume should be, you will not find anything I'm about to say or anything that you could purchase from me useful. I can only help people that are 100% open-minded, and I only want to help people that are open-minded and believe that I can help them. So if you're willing to do that, then we can move forward. If not, please exit the page. All right, so I gave you some time to do that. All right, so when we're talking about the resume, I want to blast through some of these misnomers, these things that are inaccurate. So the first thing that we need to talk about is the length of the resume. Statistics have shown in research projects done extensively, found that starting in 2020 and on, and I don't know about previous to this, but starting in 2020 on, a 2 to 3 page resume garners you a significantly higher chance of getting an interview than a 1-page resume. So forget the 1-page resume. Forget it. Now, of course, if you're someone who is fresh out of college, you might be asking, well, what do I put on there? Well, most of you probably done internships. If you have a high school degree, maybe you haven't done internships, but maybe you have taken on some activities that are worth putting on your resume. I know many employers in sales and marketing who are looking for athletes, people that are competitive, guy or girl. And so if you have athletics, put that on your resume. Now, of course, if you have experience, forget all that. If you have experience, your resume should be buffed up with 5 to 10 bullet points per job, and sometimes more if you're a leader or an executive person who needs to get everything in. Now, that doesn't mean we use crazy types of fonts. That doesn't mean we make incredible amounts of spacing to make this multiple pages. It just means we have enough data. We have enough information. Which leads me to objection and concern 2 that I have, which is people that are telling others to simplify their resume in the sense of removing fluff. Now, in its own right, removing fluff is the accurate term. We should not have fluff in our resume. But that doesn't mean you go into your CV and start eliminating everything. Actually, to the contrary, I think you should be adding more often than retracting. So your first 3 to 4 bullet points per position should be pretty heavy with data about your company, about your accomplishments, etc. Then you talk a bit about your job experience and what you did on the job. And then finally, you might throw in some soft skills, which we dive deeper into in the training below. But you can do it, you can start by just simplifying your resume and making it clean with the bullet points and with the right type of content. Now, another common mistake, an argument I hear, is that keywords in resume screeners aren't real. I can't even believe this. I cannot believe this. When a recruiter searches in a database, let's call it Indeed, Career Builder, any of the big ones, they do something called a Boolean. In the Boolean, they search certain keywords to find resumes. If your resume lacks the relevant keywords for their search, you will be ignored. When I read resumes, I read 3,000 resumes a month for the companies we work for. I do a control find key search of certain keywords. If it's lacking on the resume, we don't even read it. In addition to that, when I post jobs online, I have the website I list on do a quick AI match, automation match, whatever you want to call it, to see if the keywords match what I'm looking for. If it's not a match, they do not allow the application to reach me. Most companies do this whether they know it or not. So having the right keywords in your resume is essential, and you need to learn to understand what that means. And again, we teach that in the course below, something you will not learn from people charging $2,000, $3,000 for them to do your executive resume, whatever that means. The next thing is that a high-level resume and a basic resume should look significantly different. This is one of the worst lies and most damaging things I see to date. The simple resume formats outperform the complex resume formats with graphs and all sorts of different font types and italicize or italics. All of that doesn't work. None of it works. Your resume should be so simple and easy to read. Someone should be able to look at your resume, look through the whole thing, holding it in front of them, and they should be able to see, okay, they worked at this position at this date, they were that title, this position at this date, that title, this position at this date, that title, and they should see the first few bullet points, and it should be clean and easy to read. I see so many resumes that people have paid hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for, that have graphs, have different colors and shading. I'm colorblind. Half the time I can't even read it. I'm sure that some of the employers are colorblind too and can't read it either. And graphs are horrible for keyword searching. It causes issues with the mechanics of parsing resumes and having it reviewed by bots, which means you might be getting missed for jobs that you're qualified for. And in addition to that, somebody looks at the resume. They give the average resume a 13-second look. They'll overlook the resume because they're overwhelmed. Same with blocking text. So many resume writers will have you block text. Maybe you have blocked text on your resume, meaning without bullet points. It makes it nearly impossible to read. It makes it overwhelming, and someone will skip right over it. Now, if you do nothing else but implement some of the things I just shared with you, having a clean, simple format, making it easy to skim read, having a plethora of bullet points for each job, keeping it to 2 to 3 pages, maybe 4, having all of your experience listed out, you will be far ahead of everybody else. But if you want to make sure that your resume can get you in the door to the jobs that you want, or at least make sure that it's not hindering you in any way, shape, or form, then please follow the directions below. Get a sample resume from us. Get the trainings that correspond with that. We cover the keywording, how you structure it, why we should structure it certain ways, how I build my resume. I'm going to walk you through how I built my resume, and I'll build it live with you, or how I would do it rather, and how you can build yours. We talk about what content you should have in there, where you should put it, how you should structure it. We give you the tools and the building blocks to have an incredible resume. We do it for less than the price of going out to dinner with your family. And if you don't have the money because you're searching for a job, ask somebody to borrow it because it will be worth it. You can repay them the amount when you get your job. And if our resume fails to deliver on the promise that we make, that it will help you get more interviews and offers, then simply ask us for a refund and we will honor it. And in addition to it, we'll send you $10. Just ask. You have to ask. Obviously, we can't refund you if you don't ask, and we can't give you that additional refund incentive if you don't ask. But we're that confident that we can help you out. I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm excited to help more people. So if this interests you, follow the directions below, and I look forward to helping you out.